Good evening and welcome to this year's Division II Men's Basketball Selection Show. I'm Jack Kaiser. It's great to have you with us. Tonight we'll reveal the 23 automatic bids and 41 at-large teams making up the 64-team field. With the end goal of playing in Evansville for a national championship, the regional quarterfinals start Saturday, March 16th, with the national title game March 30th at the Ford Center. It's the best time of year, and we know the excitement for the 41-team at-large field has been building all day. So let's get to it and check out the regions, starting with the West. The top seed this year is Cal State LA. The Golden Eagles won the CCAA tournament championship last night. They've got a ferocious defense, forcing 19 turnovers a game, and they are dancing for the first time since 2000. They take on the 8 seed and opponent, Azusa Pacific. The Cougars finished 6th in the Pacific West standings, but ran through the conference tournament to reach their 3rd straight NCAA tournament. And coming in at the 4 seed in the West is Cal State Dominguez Hills. The Toros out of the CCAA are in the field for the first time since 2011, and they will face the Central Washington Wildcats. Conference tournament champions from the Great Northwest Athletic Conference. Like their opponent, Central Washington was last in the national tournament in 2011. And after a strong season, the 2 seed is Cal State San Bernardino. Behind a really good defense and Chris Mitchell scoring 16 a game, the Coyotes are in the field for a 3rd straight year. And their matchup is with Alaska Anchorage. The Seawolves lost to Central Washington in the GNAC title game, but have won 7 of their last 9 and are dancing for the first time since 2012. Our final showdown in the West includes Montana State Billings. The Yellow Jackets won the Great Northwest regular season championship, and they'll play Chico State. The Wildcats, balanced this year, 4 players averaging double-figure points, led by Evan Oliver coming off the bench, facing Montana State Billings as the 6th seed. Okay, that's how the West shakes out. Now to the South Central region. West Texas A&M is this year's top seed. 26-4 record for the Buffs out of the Lone Star Conference. They're a tournament regular, 8 straight seasons dancing, and Lone Star Player of the Year Larry Wise will try and lead West Texas A&M to its first ever national title. The Buffs will have a conference matchup in the first round against Angelo State. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson and the Rams are in the field for a 3rd straight season. The 4 seed is Dallas Baptist. Another Lone Star team forces 20 turnovers a game, and senior Cameron Kahn has had a great year, scoring in double figures every game this season. The Patriots will take on the Colorado School of Mines. The Ore Diggers are a top 10 rebounding team and are in the tournament for the 10th time in the last 11 years. Our 2 seed in the South Central is Fort Lewis. The Skyhawks were sensational in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, going 28-3 and winning the conference tournament championship. Their matchup is against Lubbock Christian. The Chaps are one of the most efficient 3-point shooting teams in the country and will play in the tournament for a 4th straight season. Okay, coming in as the 3 seed in the South Central is Colorado Mesa. The Mavericks went 21-1 in the Rocky Mountain, winning a regular season conference championship. The team they'll battle is 6th seeded Eastern New Mexico. And the Greyhounds can score it. 90 points a game this season, which is 8th in the nation, and they've hit 100 points or higher 11 times. It's going to be a really fun matchup. There is the South Central, and let's now move on to the Southeast, where the number 1 seed is North Georgia. Peach Belt Tournament champions for the first time in program history, Frank Champion and the Nighthawks are playing in their 2nd ever NCAA tournament. Their opponent and the 8th seed is Wingate. The Bulldogs from the South Atlantic Conference are making their first trip to the tournament since 2017. And checking in as the 4 seed this year, it's Catawba College, fresh off its 2nd straight South Atlantic Tournament championship. The 5 seed in the Southeast is UNC Pembroke. That's who Catawba's playing. The top rebounding team in the country, and Conference Carolinas Player of the Year Elijah Cobb they are in for a third straight year. Okay, moving on in the Southeast, the 2 seed is USC Aiken. The PBC regular season champion, led by Conference Player of the Year Tyler Johnson, will take on the Emmanuel Lions. KJ Jones II leads the country in scoring, averaging 26 a game, just the 13th player in collegiate basketball history to hit 3,000 career points. It's Jones and Emmanuel against USC Aiken in the Southeast 2-7. Our final first-round game in this region will involve Lincoln Memorial. The Rail Splitters are one of the most efficient shooting teams in the country, and Martez Brown is the top rebounder in the country, pulling in 14 boards a game. And the final team in the Southeast, the team that Lincoln Memorial is facing, is the Lander Bearcats. A balanced squad, 6 players averaging better than 8 points a game. Lander is dancing for a second straight season. Okay, we stay south in the South region, and we start with the defending national champion, Nova Southeastern. 27-2 this season. They are the top seed in the South. The Sharks score 103 points per game, second highest in the country, and they'll try to repeat as champions this season. Their first round game is against the Benedict Tigers. Benedicts playing in their first NCAA tournament since 2015. The 4 seed in the South belongs to Alabama Huntsville. Top scorer Tommy Murr and the Chargers are in the field for a 6th straight season. And coming in at the 5 seed is Embry-Riddle. The Eagles, out of the Sunshine State Conference, they've won 7 of their last 8 games. To the bottom of the South region bracket, it's West Georgia coming in as the 2 seed. Zodie Jackson, scoring 22 a game, was named the Gulf South Player of the Year, and the Wolves took home a conference tournament championship earlier today. They'll face conference rival Lee University, with the Flames making the field for a 2nd straight year. Now to the final matchup in the South. Florida Southern is the 3 seed. Luke Anderson, Alex Steen won Sunshine Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, respectively, and they'll try to give the Mocs their 3rd national championship as a program. But Florida Southern will have to get through Clark Atlanta. The Panthers are the 6th seed and will play in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2018. That's what we have in the West, South Central, Southeast, and South. We'll check out the rest of the bracket right after this.
If you're not here for Fandom 101, you're in the wrong class. Here, we learn the fundamentals of fanology, the basics of bringing the noise, and the physics of bringing it out. Your path to fan mastery begins here. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA Championships. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets. Class dismissed.
All right, we've seen half of the 64-team bracket with the West, South Central, Southeast, and South regions. There's 4 regions left, and let's get right to it, starting with the Midwest. The number 1 seed is the U-Indy Greyhounds from the GLVC. Regular season conference champs for a 2nd straight season. U-Indy went 22-8 this season and has won 7 of its last 8 going into the tournament. And the Greyhounds will match up with the team that just beat them in the GLVC tournament semis. William Jewell is the 8th seed, beating U-Indy in overtime yesterday and winning the GLVC championship today. These two will face off again on Saturday. The 4 seed in the Midwest belongs to Northern Michigan. The Wildcats 22-10 this season out of the GLIAC. They will play in the NCAA tournament for a 2nd straight year. Northern Michigan will play conference rival Ferris State. The Bulldogs won a national championship just 6 years ago in 2018. Top scorers Ben Davidson and Ethan Erickson will try and put Ferris State back in that position this season. Our 2 seed in the Midwest is Kentucky Wesleyan, a regular out of the Greater Midwest Athletic Conference. The Panthers are the winningest team in tournament history with 8 national championships, and this is their first trip to the Big Dance since 2017. The Panthers will match up with the Upper Iowa Peacocks. GLVC Player of the Year Jake Hilmer is third in the nation, scoring 24 a game, leading one of the top offenses in the country. Let's look at the final game in the Midwest. The 3 seed this year will be the Walsh Cavaliers. It's 3-D for this team, with Kobe Mitchell top 10 nationally in threes per game, complementing the 5th-ranked scoring defense in the country. Walsh will play the 6th seed Lake Superior State. The Lakers are in for the first time since 2018. Okay, it's now time to move to the East region, where the number 1 seed is St. Michael's. St. Michael's set a program record for threes this year and is in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2001, this year as a 1 seed. Waiting for them is the 8 seed Southern Connecticut State. The Owls went 22-10 this year and made it all the way to the Northeast 10 championship game. Coming in as the 4 seed is the Damon Wildcats from the East Coast Conference. Their 4th tournament trip in the last 6 years. Balance stands out for this team, with 6 players averaging double-figure points, and Damon has a date with the Jefferson Rams. Jefferson has been here a ton. This is their 38th NCAA tournament bid, and top scorer Eric Timko and the Rams will have a chance to win their 2nd national championship as a program. To the bottom of the East region, the number 2 seed is St. Thomas Aquinas. They've won 4 straight East Coast tournament titles, and sophomore James Patterson leads the 5th-ranked scoring offense in the country into its 9th straight NCAA tournament appearance. Who will they face? The Post-University Eagles from Waterbury, Connecticut. 20 wins this year from the Central Atlantic, and they are going to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. Our final game in the East, Southern New Hampshire has locked up the 3 seed. The Northeast 10 tournament champs have had Matt Beck draining triples all year. Beck leads the country in made threes, and the Penmen are feeling good, winning 7 straight going into the NCAA tournament. And lastly, the Bloomfield College Bears are the 6th seed and back in the tournament for the first time since 2019. Next up, the Central region, where Minnesota State is the top seed. 29-2 record and 10 straight wins for the Mavericks, including an NSIC tournament championship. It's Minnesota State's first trip to the tournament since 2019, and they'll face the Arkansas Tech Wonder Boys, Great American Conference tournament champs, and in the field for the first time since 2017. Minnesota State Moorhead is your 4 seed in the Central. The Dragons, another team out of the NSIC, they are in the tournament for a 4th straight year, and they'll take on the 5th-seeded Pittsburgh State Gorillas. Pittsburgh State had an impressive win over Fort Hays State in the MIAA tournament, and they are back in the big dance for the first time since 2015. This year's 2 seed in the Central is Northwest Missouri State. The Bearcats have had a ridiculous run of success. 4 national titles over the last 7 years. They are a lockdown defensive team, giving up just 60 a game, which ranks 2nd in the nation. Their matchup is with Southwest Minnesota State. The Mustangs are in the field for the 6th time in program history. Our final pairing in the Central will include Minnesota Duluth coming in as the 3 seed. The Bulldogs barely turn it over, just 9 times a game, ranking 3rd in the country, which leads to more chances for Drew Blair to score. He's dropping 23 points a game, the 6th best scoring average in the nation. We mentioned Fort Hays State from the MIAA, and the Tigers are in as the 6th seed in the Central. Another elite defense in this region, with Fort Hays State leading the nation in points allowed. It's a chance for the Tigers to win their first national title since 1996. That's how the Central looks. Let's go to our final region now, the Atlantic. And our final number 1 seed is Gannon. The Golden Knights are just rolling, 29-2 this year and winners of 18 straight. This is the top scoring team in the country, racking up 103 points per game, and they'll face 8th-seeded Lincoln. The Lions won the CIAA tournament, and they are officially in. The 4 seed in the Atlantic is West Liberty. The Hilltoppers from the Mountain East Conference, they have the longest streak of any current team in the field as far as making the tournament. 15 straight trips to the NCAA tournament, tying Assumption from the 1960s and 70s for the longest streak in tournament history. The team they'll see is the Millersville Marauders. Matt Dade is scoring 19 points a game, leading Millersville to a 24-win season. Okay, let's check out the 2-7 matchup now. The 2 seed belongs to the California PA Vulcans. KJ McClurg, a top 10 scorer in the country, spearheads one of the most efficient offenses in the nation. And in the 7th spot, it's the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets, dancing for the 7th time in program history as the 7 seed. Our final game in this year's bracket, starting with the 3 seed, Charleston Golden Eagles from the Mountain East. Charleston leads the nation in field goal percentage and is in the tournament for the first time since 2018. Last but not least, thank you for your patience. Concord. The Mountain Lions are one of the best rebounding teams in the country and will face Charleston in the first round on Saturday. All right, there's the full 64-team bracket. We get started with the regional matchups this weekend on Saturday, and the regional champs will again head to Evansville for the national quarterfinals. You can watch those games here on NCAA.com. The quarterfinals will be on March 26th, with the semifinals March 28th, and the national championship game March 30th, broadcasted on CBS Sports, all at the Ford Center in Evansville. We can't wait to get started. It's going to be another fantastic year for the D2 men's basketball tournament. I'm Jack Kaiser. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our entire crew tonight. Congrats to all the teams and student athletes in the field this year, and best of luck competing for a national championship.
If you're not here for Fandom 101, you're in the wrong class. Here, we learn the fundamentals of fanology, the basics of bringing the noise, and the physics of bringing out. Your path to fan mastery begins here. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA Championships. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets. Class dismissed.